stream title, the channel name for Goku Black is the fellow I'm racing against here. So that way you can see both sides of the race. If you're used to most randomizer races, usually the players are not on comms. For a lot of randomizers, hidden information is super important because a lot of randomizers come down to like scavenger hunts that go through the game. Lunarian Shuffle is very much so not that. It is a modified playthrough through the original game, which is itself fairly linear. So, apart from like finding out, apart from the person who is behind finding out whether it is worth a detour to pick up something that the person that's ahead decided to get, there's not really anything important that winds up getting leaked out.
Yes, so in that regard, we can say, okay, this character's coming up next, and whatnot. Otherwise, if it was like for Enterprise, we wouldn't be able to say stuff like that. But since it's Lunarian Shuffle, it doesn't really make much of an impact. So.
Alright. So, get everything started. Do you have the game loaded up?
Yes, I've had it loaded up when we were talking.
Sweet. Okay.
Right, time
and stream is ready and all that stuff?
Yep.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and count down. We'll begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. First thing, I probably should have added a timer to my layout, but I didn't. Whatever. We're starting at around 3:30. Well, the 3:38 and looks like our first character is Golbez. Still a lot of darkness in the Dark Fantasy position.
Yeah, but we do not know what he's going to come with. We have randomized equipment along with shuffle, the equipment permissions, and the ability sets.
Yep.
So the name that he apparently is going to start with is Vegeta, which is kind of fitting. That is a Dragon Ball reference if I've ever heard one.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, what we do know about this Golbez is his own stats. Whenever you see a character that looks like a character you recognize, you know that their HP growth is going to be like that character. You know their strength and wisdom and agility, all that stuff, will also grow like that character's stats normally grow. In the case of Golbez, of course, I had to, decide what that meant. And essentially, Golbez is a tanky mage. He has a lot less wisdom to do black magic damage with than other black mages in this game do, but he has a lot more vitality and he has okay strength as well. Doing physical attacks with him in the early game is quite reasonable, but going on in the later game, you're probably just going to use him for magic. Probably depends on what ability set you get on him, which we don't know that just yet. Okay, so we have young Rydia taking King's place. We have Alan Cecil in the romantic interest position, and King will be our airship engineer.
Honestly, that's not a... That's... I don't think he'd make a bad airship engineer. I mean... Dragoon... The Dragoons are pretty smart. I mean, Dragoons are smart.
I mean, King's pretty easily manipulated.
But that's using dark magic. He's actually pretty smart. It wasn't his lack of intelligence. It was his desire for Rosa. So.
But in this case, we get a romance between Golbez and Cecil instead.
Looks like we have adult Rydia abilities on Golbez with Sid's equipment type. Poron's equipment type on to Rydia with, it looks like, Palom's ability set.
Let's take a look at the equipment here. I did find a gauntlet, but I already have a gauntlet on there.
Looks like...
That's sorted out here.
Looks like I'm going to be sticking Golbez in the middle. Those are some interesting arrows. Now with that specific, kind of arrow at the beginning that would be pronounced with a silent H at the beginning?
The arrow?
Yeah, the arrow name.
I have no idea. I would probably try to pronounce that H, but I don't know. If the Lunarian Shuffle can't come up with a good selection of a sensible name from its database of equipment names to choose from, then sometimes they'll just do something random. And this time we got the Hijid for arrows, which are not really going to be all that effective against this dragon here, but doesn't really need to be. Vegeta here's got a pretty good axe, so this dragon will go down pretty fast, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it does ice damage, so it's not that bad, but generally not what you want to see for Demon's fight. I'm probably not going to even bother with those type of arrows on Mylon Z. The only type of arrows I probably use against Mylon Z are Holy Elemental or White Elemental, as the case may be.
Yeah, Ice Element is actually something Mylon Z protects itself against.
Yeah.
I guess you're also hitting Air Element, so I guess it's fine.
But then no, he's weak against air, but he has ice, so you'll be generally doing normal damage, right?
The bonus damage trumps the reduced damage, I believe. Like if you slash a Rubicon with an ice physical weapon while his cape is closed, you still do bonus damage. Anyway, reset the game now in order to do the mist clip.
Wow, that was fast.
Yeah.
That was very quick.
Alright, so I had a temp, so I was able to interrupt a step to the left and then abort the rest of the step to the left using the temp. And then I did a step to the right, and then before I actually loaded into the mixed village itself, I was able to save the game, reload, and then after that, finally, I'm in mist on the right side because I stepped over the village that way. And it's kind of weird that Mist Village has an entrance on the right side since in vanilla there's no legitimate way for you to get there. But that's actually pretty.
I think that's because they didn't actually expect you to be able to do that, and so they had a second entrance, kind of like about every single other town does. They kind of changed that in the later versions, but I think on a sense, I don't think they were actually intending for you to do anything like this, so. But hey, it's a neat glitch nonetheless.
2000.
Alright, let's see. What? Oh, that's why. I don't think I'm going to be able to afford that anytime soon.
I have to skip that power bow, I think.
Yeah, same here. I don't think I've got enough money for anything here. But let's see what the free loot is. believe that, yeah. So there is a total of 7 treasures inside Mist Town. Which is all a lot better and probably, most likely, than what we're going to be finding at this point. So...
At a minimum, it's worth a fairly large amount of cash.
Yeah. True. I mean, getting a vampire is not bad.
Yeah. That's what, like 400-ish damage? This phase of game, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, especially if you do it like what against Octomam or Antlion. Don't even know how to use it against. Today I learned what happens when you have 2 Avengers and 3 Adamant Armors on everyone.
It's going to be, way too much damage.
Yeah, I bet even Tella could do 5,000 damage then. The thing about Tella...
Yeah, he'd be endgame Cecil territory there.
Because the Avenger increases your strength, your agility, and vitality by 10, and Adam Armor increases everything by 15. So, essentially, that's what, like 65 strength.
Yeah. How would you get 3 pieces of the adamant armor?
Well, I mean, there is another randomizer where that's possible.
Like it'll have red adamant helmet and armor and gloves, all 3.
No. So they've got a mode called Ambidextrous, which allows you to automatically dual wield, and anyone can equip anything in any single armor slot.
Oh, weird.
So, and if you pre-fill your inventory, you start with Avengers and Adamant Armors. So, essentially, if you combine those 2 together, you can have double Avenger, triple Adamant Armor on everyone.
Hoping to get some self-damage items from Kaiko's shop, but no dice this time.
I'm sorry, that name just struck me funny. Cranky. That name just struck me funny.
Okay, so what do we have? We have black mage equipment and some sort of non-magical
Yeah.
set on Cranky here.
I mean, why? Why did you name him that though?
Billy Cranky. I think it's a reference to Cranky Kong. There's also, I think, Alan can be called Diddy. Porum can be called Dixie, I believe.
And I believe in one of the cutscene names you put him as Brat. The Palom.
You can randomly select what to go there.
I just think that's funny. I think that it's also think that's just so fitting.
So we have... it's ice too. Okay, nice.
Alright,
Yeah, I think I just blaze straight through. Don't have to go out of my way for any equipment here.
I don't...
Strong party reroll, I think. I mean, Taro's not exciting, but I don't think he's bad.
Yeah, ooh, we got Dragoon equipment type onto Fusoya, and Tella's abilities. You can tell because he has 90 MP.
That's, Yang's ability type is what Tella has here.
Okay.
The thing I really don't have right now is healing, apart from Tella. So the antline part of the trip might be a little tricky. I burned my tent in order to do the mist clip.
You only have one?
I only found one. I haven't been scouring chests so much here because I felt pretty confident about the overall strength already.
Yeah, it must have been somewhere in Mist Cave because I just looted the outside skirts, you know, the easy places to reach of Barren Town, and then went and checked the Chocobo Forest, and then went straight up to Mist Cave and collected all the treasures there. That's probably the only difference. So I had 2 for the Mist Clip.
I'm actually going to take the time out to run here. I really fight tiny mages. They have quite a bit of HP. They really resist magic. They counterattack with Psych if you hit them with magic, which sucks. They counterattack with Hold if you hit them with physical attacks, which also sucks. So just don't want to deal with it.
Not unless you can one-shot. If you can one-shot, then hey, go for it.
Mm-hmm. But even Dancing Dagger is actually not a consistent one-shot against them. They have really high magic defense, so it's actually enough to oftentimes get past that.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, a little less accurate, but I think it gets there.
Oh, I like that actually. That bad hammer is actually good.
I didn't find a bad hammer.
Yeah, it was in the... I like to search the left-hand side of the last spot in Watery Pass before you come to outside. Because it's generally...
I often grab the right side of that area, then the left, but either way I didn't check either.
Yeah, I checked both, because, you know, I kind of don't like two-handed axes. If I get any...
Here, I'm just using a kick. This isn't going to deal a respectable amount of damage, but it is going to make progress towards removing Optimon's tentacles, and I don't trust Cranky to actually hit if I use a normal attack.
Yeah, so... Generally, you, when you're playing this, and you get Tella, you get a physical ability set and a mage equipment set. Generally, you do not ever think of him actually doing good physical damage.
Yeah, Tella is kind of interesting in that his strength actually goes down as he levels up. So, yeah, at the very start of the game, it's not as bad, because he will start off with 2 subjects on his attacks, but if you level him up at all, that quickly falls down to just 1 subject, and that doesn't get there.
Might as well just die. Not even saying this to be funny or anything. That's just sad. He just did 11 damage with a kick.
Yep.
That's sad. Might as well just be offed. Thank you, Octoman, for actually doing that. I appreciate it.
Mine survived. Yeah, we'll see if he winds up producing any results against Antlion or not. It's going to depend on where Edward's replacement is. Find out who the spooniest of
Oh, that's not good. Back row.
grab these.
Did I get to keep? Okay, good. I got to keep it. Sometimes when you're using an item for whatever reason, whenever you use an item, sometimes it randomly gets rid of it. When your character dies, it gets rid of it in the inventory. I don't know why that is.
Oh, if they successfully locked in the item use, that's the point where the game deletes the item from your inventory. So if the animation is already happening that is killing the character when you're trying to use the item, then that item use won't actually get locked in, so you'll keep the item. But if the character locks in the action and the game's just waiting for them to get their turn to use it and then they die, then the item will die.
Interesting.
Got a show off here is our Spoony Guard.
I'll be there in a minute. I just gotta strip Soya of his gear.
I didn't strip everything. In the Lunarian Shuffle, the game does return the stuff that they were wearing to you when the character rejoins. That way you don't get a constant flow of new equipment every time the character rejoins. But if you want to use anything in the interim, then it does make sense to hold off. So,
yeah.
That's
I don't like the gauntlet that he comes with, though. Soya? It lowers strength.
Yeah, I just let him run off with it.
Yeah, it lowers his strength.
That's not great.
Yeah. Especially for someone who, at this point, probably do want to have them physical attack if you want to save MP. You saw my message in TLS Challenge League chat, right?
Which one?
The TLS Challenge League, just hashtag TLS Challenge League.
Right. Which message?
The most recent one.
Might have to check.
I said next week will be the last week for this season. And then I'll take a month off. But if anyone else wants to pick up the slack, but before then, be my guest. I just have so much going on right now. Just out of curiosity, in your Octoman fight, did both Golbez and Tella die?
No, neither died, actually. I did take a little bit of extra effort to make sure they were okay.
Yeah, I have to use the recovery string because both of my characters died. Generally, the only character that survived was my Tella replacement. Now he's gone.
So in the Lion fight, I'm avoiding using anything that counts as a fight command. Curiously, Focus does not. Berserk would count as fight, but Focus does not, Jump does not, Aim does not, if you happen to have that. I'm having Vegeta summon Chocobo, I'm having this Lit 1 dagger on Giannis. Do a little bit of work, and I've actually put Cranky back into the front row. He has enough HP now, I think that's okay, and he's going to use Focus.
Just out of curiosity, what ability set does Palom come with?
I should know at this point, and I don't. I haven't actually been paying attention to that because I've just been using his item. It's not anything with magic. Okay, it's Edward abilities. So he will auto hide, which is a little annoying.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. I wasn't sure because I just opened the menu. Hadn't gotten to a fight yet. So he's double Edward then.
Do I have any exit items?
I think I don't.
They're available for sale, but I forget if I actually bought them. I don't think I did, and I think I'm going to regret it now that I have to take the wall machine after. Yeah. No exciting, so I'll be walking.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to as well. Also being that my Golbez died in the Octoman fight, so yeah. If I do run into a 4 cream fight, then I will. Oh, speaking of which, jeez, that was fast. I will use. I was like, wow, that was quick. Yeah, literally. Use my Easter eggs. That's what I was gonna say. That was quick. Wow.
I've got one cold wind I found in Kaipo. Still haven't actually found a case where I need to use it.
The only kind of use I would think a cold one would have is against like turtle enemies or something.
Yeah, turtles. It's good there. It's also good against the frogs and watery pests.
But they're, in my opinion, they're not that worth it to try and kill them with it. The experience just isn't worth it.
Not usually. The map is a little different whenever you have the hardware to run from fights active like we have here. As a reminder, we are currently experiencing only 1/7 as many fights as a game would normally give, but it takes actual time to flee combat.
Yeah, so... Yeah, it's kind of like those enemies from the Lunar Subtrain. What were they called? Fatalize?
Yep.
Fatalize.
In the base game, enemies whose level is considered to be, I think it's 97 or higher, something like that, will trigger a special mode where it's hard to run away from them. And I just enabled that to a lesser degree for normal enemies.
How you doing?
Essentially.
Yeah. So yeah, what did you have to do to turn the actual flag on?
It's not so hard. Essentially, I just hotwired the thing where it checks if you're up against an enemy that should trigger it, and I just made it say, do it always. Just skip the check to make sure that there are enemies like that, and just have it always on.
Okay. That makes sense.
That does incidentally interrupt run buffering for players that are used to doing that. Okay, this is interesting.
Also, Palom now has 69 HP. Let's go. Alright, Golda showed no problem killing Antlion with the amount of damage that he's putting out with Chocobo. And he shouldn't run out of MP. If he does, I guess we'll use the Vampire at him. Yeah.
Probably gonna like using it against Monbong here, I guess. It's not a bad item to just have in your back pocket in case something goes wrong at some point.
Yeah, that's mainly what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to keep it as like a safety measure.
Okay, time for the Antlion fight. Not the Antlion, but the Monbong fight.
Yeah, so the way that Crow has made it so that the fight against the music that Edward actually plays is made it so that it matches music to the actual character where it looks. So Whatever the character looks like, that's the theme that's going to be playing instead of Edward's harp theme. That actually shows up twice in the story. One is against Waterhag, and one is in the Magni's Cave.
In this case, we've got someone basically playing the xylophone. So
Yeah, I know, right? Can you imagine Palom playing music?
What I can't imagine him doing is taking time out to practice.
I mean, he wanted to be a sage, he didn't want to be a bard. He never said he wanted to be a bard. He never said, man, I really love music. Let's be a bard. And somehow in the Lunarian Shuffle here, he is a full bard. In Edward's spot. How ironic. Alright, so we are approaching the Waterhag fight, which all Palom has to do is hit 3 times.
At this point, we have both Paladin and Dark Knight Cecil in the party.
So what I've done on every single one of my characters is, so far anyway, is I have used what is called the back row glitch. Now, if you don't know what that is if you put a back row weapon on, any back row weapon will do, a harp, a bow and arrow, dwarf axe, what have you. Any weapon that has a back row property, and then you take it off and put a front row weapon on, the game will forget to apply that front row property to the weapon, and therefore your character will be able to hit same damage from the back row for the rest of the game.
It's pretty convenient.
That's why Janice here is able to hit same damage from the back row with a knife on.
It does take a little bit of time to set it up, but often worthwhile.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if you've got a character that is supposed to be a back row character and you need them to physical attack. Generally is a lot better if you can do that. You know?
In the vanilla game, it's pretty good to do this with Cecil because his cover will benefit from back row even if he's covering for someone in the front row.
The only kind of reason that he cannot cover at some point is if he's defending or if he is berserked.
Long fight came kind of close.
You know, it's kind of funny because I've actually had to tell that to a lot of people. They were wondering why he wasn't covering. And they had him parrying.
Future Final Fantasy games change that, but I guess the idea is you're defending yourself, you're not defending someone else.
Yeah, it's like you're making him parry, and I'm just going, that's why he's not covering, is because he's parrying. Or, hey, you berserked him, so that's why he's not covering.
Mm-hmm.
You want him to cover, then you gotta do something else with him. I generally like to loot the left side of Hobbs.
Probably would have been worthwhile for me to do that this time.
Yeah, especially with the equipment we're given. Especially with the equipment that we are given. Alright, Romeo here. He's got a silver headband. Not bad. Generally, he's not going to be staying in the party for too long, though. The Rosa replacement will stay in the party for however long it is until you actually get over to Fabul. Which, most of the time, that's not even 10 minutes. Depending on the encounters. So, I have a question for you, Crow. Is Rosa able to be called Juliet?
I believe so, yes.
Because we have Romeo here, and I'm just going, I understood that reference. I actually understood that reference. Wow. It's about the same, but jeez. It lowers more wisdom than the, whatever the other ring that was. He comes on with, I have my inventory right now. I think I'm going to stick Vegeta in the front. Because he's got more survivability than Romeo does. Okay, we have a dark.
Be able to make it back to Kabul without dying. Yeah. Okay. 2 characters with less than 100 HP between them, showing up at Kabul here.
That looks like a pretty strong weapon. I'm gonna say by the amount of damage that kick did. Yeah, that's an axe. Jeez. That's some good damage. I think I can say for a fact that I know what the equipment set for the for Dark Knight Cecil is. I think I know. I think it's got to be Paladin Cecil, right? Comes with an X on.
Yeah, it's Paladin. And we ran out of other things to have axes.
Oh, he's got Young Rydia's equipment, ability set, and Paladin Cecil's equipment set. Honestly, not a bad character, to be honest. The only thing that lacks with Dark Knight Cecil's collar set is the fact that he has low wisdom and low HP, so can't really make the bomb summon useful either.
There's a pretty cool whip that could be bought for Paladin Cecil here, but got to lose him for a while anyway, so I'm not going to bother.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't really get to keep him for very long. I don't know why they give us Rosa, but then take her away so quickly. I think that's enough HP to survive. I did buy an hourglass in the shop, so I'll be able to hourglass this. I bought an hourglass specifically for this fight. Why not? Tell you do a kick. That's not bad, actually. Throughout the entire, all the enemies, that actually wasn't too bad. Doing like 19 to 20 damage with a kick per enemy.
6 enemies there.
That's not bad for Tella. Hey, thanks, Ziggy, for the good luck. I kept forgetting to ask you guys if you wanted to actually do a practice race. Glad you said something.
Oh, it wouldn't hurt to do another one in the upcoming week at some point.
Yeah, because, you know, it's coming up pretty soon. Yeah, it wouldn't hurt, like... do you know if Well, one, did you join the Final Fantasy Randomizer Discord?
Yep, and it's set up there.
Okay.
Compared to other marathons I've been participating in, I will say that the information they have about what exactly they expect from each participant is a little sparse. So I do hope that it all went smoothly. We're not one of the first runs of the marathon, so hopefully
Yeah.
they'll have worked out the kinks by the time they get to us. It wouldn't surprise me if they wind up running not according to the schedule they originally thought.
Yeah, it's like 6:45 p.m. Pacific, so that's 8:45 my time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we are going to be losing Cranky and Romeo pretty soon. I want to sort a little bit here. Let's see. I do know who both of my callers are, so I believe. Right? Yeah. So I don't need to use this imp summon. Yeah, okay,
To explain the comments just came from my opponent there. If you use a summon orb, it will tell you the name of one of the summoners, which is kind of interesting.
yeah, so if you use the summon orb, it will tell you who's the first character in line that can use summons. Since we started with a character who could actually use it, it's not really that useful. That tells me that we're going to have a ninja equipment type at some point. When? I don't know.
As far as, like, actually summoning imp, there is no situation I can think of that would ever be correct.
Yeah, it's just damage with like one sub hit, right? Your normal physical damage, but with
It's the normal number of sub hits, but it's the minimum damage summons allowed to do per sub hit. I think it's 4 damage per sub hit, plus or minus 1. If my memory's right.
is it the sub hits for magic or your physical damage?
Any spells are magic damage.
Even imp?
Even if
Where can you find said sub hits for magic?
it is, if you're using black magic or summon magic, it is your wisdom divided by 4 plus 1.
So, about the same formula as getting relative agility. You take your agility anchor, times that by 2.5, and add 1. Seems similar.
I guess there's some similarities, but just because there's a big part of it is, rounding errors, right?
Yeah, it's
Like
math.
if you have 5 wisdom, that's not another 25% so you need to actually get another 3 before it's any better than 4. So same idea as far as that goes, but ultimately a lot of math is pretty good.
Yeah, math is something that I do really well in, so it's my favorite subject. Oddly enough, if you cast Piggy on the general or officer, it will lose the ability to actually tell the soldiers or whatnot to attack, as well as be able to run away when it's alone. Don't know why that is though. Crow, do you want to elaborate?
So whenever effectively Piggy just forbids characters from using anything that isn't the basic fight command, and the way that the game executes the command for the other units to attack. What it's actually doing is it's having the officer inflict a 0 damage attack on all enemies on the enemy party, and then those enemies counterattack back by attacking you. And that's how it actually works. Also, if the officer was trying to run away, the way it does that is actually by casting death on itself. And
so he can't do he can't do that because that's magic. And the casting damage on all of them, is that magic?
It's not damage though. So it never looks at wisdom amounts or anything. It is an attack whose only purpose is to trigger counter. It doesn't inflict damage. It's not magic. It's not physical. It is a generic attack, which is kind of a weird concept, but it's a happy thing that they do.
Is it somewhat similar to the way stuff reacts to kick in Darkwave?
I don't think so. I don't think I would put it.
I was just curious there because I'm just going, okay, so the kick in the Darkwave command kind of don't trigger any counterattacks whatsoever? Like, legitimately? They don't trigger any counterattacks, but they're not a magic and they're not a physical attack. At least Darkwave isn't. I don't know what kind of attack it is.
Interesting. The randomizer is supposed to avoid the scenario that happened there. The frost arrows and the Bigford arrows are literally identical. It's supposed to re-roll the factors. It does give up eventually if it re-rolls too many times and still doesn't find anything acceptable. So I guess that must have happened for the seed.
So we know we're not getting edge, which is a really good bit of knowledge. I'd say you're about 2, 3, maybe 4 minutes ahead of me. So let's see here. We're losing Chrono. We're losing Janus, and we're losing Cranky, so we gotta unequip all of them. I just think that's the funniest name for Tella.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I mean, you kill his daughter, and of course he's gonna be cranky. Why does he look so old, though? Because he's not. He's not actually old.
What age is he supposed to be? I actually have no idea.
He's supposed to be somewhere in his 30s or 40s, and he looks like he's in his 60s. Looks like he's so old, but he's actually not. He's actually middle-aged. He's not super old like he looks.
Ooh. Bomb summon available for sale. That one's good.
So if you see anything that's bear, boar, what have you, then that automatically means that it boosts some strength stat. Honestly, I think I make a really good commentator. What do you think?
You're doing fine.
No, I mean, generally, like, I do like commentating. It is something I feel like a gift I have. Let's see. That looks like a Dark Sword? Is that a Dark Sword? I can tell because of the weird glitch that happens sometimes with the actual menu. Yeah, Dark Sword, okay. We see... We have not seen that quite yet. So... Yeah, my chat doesn't get too chatty. Maybe eventually it will.
A larger stream's chat is challenging. So I'm not envious of those that get, check in the.
Oh, me neither. I'm just like, it's gonna be weird when I go into the Final Fantasy Randomizer Twitch channel and
Yeah, I guess so.
try to catch up with chat. By the way, are we gonna be staying in a voice channel? We're gonna be going in a voice channel when we're doing it. When we're restreamed.
Oh, yeah, I said we'll be in a Discord channel on this. The marathon's current hosts will probably also be present to step in and say whatever it is they want to say as well.
Yeah, I assume that we're gonna be both in the same voice channel, but the commentators themselves will probably be in separate.
Usually whichever host is active will be there, but they'll mute themselves most of the time, and then they'll just unmute if they have something they want to interrupt and say. They're usually pretty hands-off about it. Just kind of wait for apparent lulls in the action, or we'll just ask, hey, is it a good time to talk about what this marathon is, or something like that.
So, Rosa is full Golbez. Kind of a poor equipment set for Young, though. Can't really find a use for the other than maybe bows and arrows, but even at that, it's not really that great. He's just better off with other stuff. By the way, I don't think I've asked you this before. How did you get the attack from Yang to actually stack with the weapons?
Essentially, I just found where in the code it was calculating damage for Kick and Darkwave to actually share the same code.
Really?
And I was fixing Darkwave, not Kick, but it turned out that fixing Darkwave required fixing Kick, so I wound up doing both.
And Kick has something to do with the attack stuff from Yang?
The original game formula does not factor in the attack multiplier, and that's the big thing. So, in the original, it just takes your raw damage from one sub-hit, stacked by 2, and that's your attack that you do to everything. Which, in the late game, when you're usually sporting, 10 or so sub-hits, that's not acceptable.
So, when you're dealing damage with Yang, I always thought the formula was the stronger he gets is how many levels he gets.
Oh, that actually doesn't, well, damn about this. So, the also menuing here. I think I'm good to go. Okay. For Young's, for someone who has Young's equipment style, their attack damage is based off of their level and their level only. But that doesn't apply to Kick. Kick is an ability, and it measures its damage based off of the attack power and attack multiplier of the user. It does not use Yang's usual damage calculation.
Does
whatever the damage calculation for the character that is using it has.
So, how did you change it into Young's equipment set?
Young's equipment set was literally just a matter of identifying who it was that was going to need the new ability, the Yang style equipment stuff, and just assigning it to look for that character instead of looking for Yang or using the alternate calculation.
Interesting. So that's how that works.
Those sorts of edits, I did need to hack the game. Let's see, I am decide what I'm doing here now. I think it's this. Yeah, that'll be fun. For a lot of those sorts of things, I did have to make one edit, and that was switching it to where it checks for the job number, not the actor number. The game keeps track of an actor number, which is different from one instance of a character joining to the next. Such as, like, if when Rosa rejoins later on in the game, she still has the same job number. She still looks basically the same. She has the same spell set, all of that stuff, which is tied to the job number. But she does have a different actor number the second time she joins, so it's technically a different character, and oftentimes the game would seek a particular character using the actor number instead of the job number. Most of the time I switch that to searching for the job number because that's more reliable whenever I'm changing who's who.
So, in terms of you doing this, did it take a while and effort to do?
Not in most cases. For just rewiring who uses an existing effect, that was usually only difficult in terms of finding the code responsible. Actually making the changes themselves for those sorts of edits wasn't all that hard.
So the hardest part was actually finding it?
Yes. Yeah, just finding where in the code it makes Yang's attack power weird. And then once you know where it's doing that, it's not that hard to change who it's doing it for.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's just...
Case where Mylon Z is actually a bit of a pain in the butt.
I generally am not having a hard time with Mylon. I had an hourglass left, so I used it. Generally, when Mylon has his, let's call friends around, then he will just say, go my children or something like that, and he actually will not take actions. However, when his children are dead, he actually starts to attack you. So that's something to keep in mind. So generally, if you have an hourglass, the gas don't actually count as bosses. Don't have the boss bit. So what you can just do is you can hourglass the gas and just kill Mylon, and then easily kill the gas, and the fight's over. Wow, that was a whole lot of explanation for a little thing. That took a lot of breath power. But hey, you know, that's knowledge.
And knowledge is power, and power is half the battle. The other half is knowing. And knowledge is knowing. So knowledge is all.
So, in a previous practice seed, I actually did get stuck on Mylon. I died like 3 times. I had Tella as my only white mage with Cure 1. And main damage was Rydia with Dark Knight Cecil's equipment set with a non-magical ability set. The non-magic ability set. So that was my main damage output. That was not fun. And I finally said, you know what, let's burn some alarms and get through this. And I got Tella to Cure 2, and then I did it. I finally did. I bought a few right at when I got to Febul, so it wasn't that hard to do this. So my Lon Z he absorbs Ice Elemental, and I don't generally have a really good way of dealing with this aside from Bomb. So I guess
having Gino heal Vegeta.
Just use Bomb.
And use Bomb, yeah. That was pretty much the strategy this time.
Does Lit 2 actually affect Mylon Z at all?
Does what?
Lit 2 affect Mylon Z at all?
If you have Lit 2, it'll do damage.
I wasn't entirely sure.
I have MP on Rosa, so wasn't able to use it.
Yeah, I actually bought life potions right when I got to Kaipo for the first time, so I bought 10.
Oh, that's our main character, huh? Okay.
I mean,
not much of an upgrade here.
I mean, generally, not much of an upgrade is, for this specific point, it's not that bad. Generally, Rosa's wisdom is really bad. She's meant to be a white mage, and even that she doesn't do like 100% well as like someone say Purim. But she's good enough as a white mage to be sufficient enough. Her HP growth is probably one of the best things about her specifically.
Do the other mages anyway?
Yeah, under mages. Generally, it's the best thing about her being a white mage is that she has some good survivability. It's time to get rid of Vegeta here. I wonder who our Paladin Cecil replacement is going to be. Let's see, who haven't we seen yet? We haven't seen... let me make room here. We have not seen... I don't think we've seen Sid yet.
We have not seen Sid yet.
Not seen Sid. We have seen Palom. We haven't seen Porum. Let's see. I don't think we've seen Edward yet. Speaking of Edward,
Yep.
I have 10 alarms, so it's not a big deal.
I do not. So.
He's got jump. That's not too bad. Looks like Dark Knight Cecil equipment set on him, though. Honestly, not a bad upgrade. If you're not playing...
The thing is, I actually like this little as we have. That's the big thing.
Well, I mean...
Now we've got Head, and Head is not exciting. I guess I shouldn't forget that the Tele ability set now actually has, spells.
Yeah.
That itself is a pretty big upgrade, even if it's not directly related.
Yeah, the Teller replacement actually has a good amount of wisdom, so it's going to be hitting harder than probably Teller would be at this point, which it's actually really good. The only downside is that he cannot wear mage boosting, wisdom boosting equipment, but hey, you know what?
I just randomly ran into a Lilith, that's good.
I mean, do you say no or do you say yes? I would personally say yes. I would say yes, so... the only problem with having Edward have Dark Knight Cecil's equipment type is... you can't go in the back. Which is generally what I would want to do with him. But I guess with a good amount of defense, he'll be fine?
For now, I'm stuffing him in the back row just because I need him there. So he stays alive.
The one bad thing about Edward, and it's what everyone frowns upon him on, his lack of health.
Yeah, he just dies.
He dies very often, but...
His stats aren't actually all that bad.
no, his stats are pretty good. Especially if you level him up, he does get... No, I mean, like, if you level him up, his agility goes up real fast. His agility goes up really fast. He has the best level, post-level 70 stats of any single character in the game. And in the Lunarian Shuffle, stats can't go down, so... I mean, honestly, the only downside to Edward is his low HP. Generally, though, when you are dealing with Liliths, you will get back attacked or surprised more often than first strike. Do you know why that is? I actually don't know. Why you get back attacked or surprised with Lilith more than anything else.
Because they're very high level enemies.
Oh, I forgot to split. There we go. They're high level, and that's why?
Getting back attacked or getting a surprise against the enemy or a surprise against you. All of those odds are calculated based off of your average level versus the opponent's average level.
I don't want to go into the actual, like, technical stuff of it, but is it like compare? Wow, I just got 2-strike first against the Lilith formations. Right in a row. Holy moly. 2 in a row. What are the odds?
Not horrible, but it's close to 50-50 as to whether you get either back attack or surprise. And then for the remaining fights, it's like 20%. Well, of the remaining fights, it's like 40% that you'll get a first strike on them, something like that.
That adds up to more than...
Like 30% of the fights that are
that...
normal attacks, at least before you start tier 2.
Like... But here's the thing. What I don't get is that adds up to more than 100%.
It was... The distribution I'm going with is 20 on first strike, 30 on normal attack, 25 each on back attack versus surprise.
That's not what you said the first. You said 50-50.
Yeah, the 40% was 40% of the remainder, and the remainder at that point was 50%, so 40% of the remainder was 20%.
Okay, I'm just going, that adds up to more than 100%. That's actually impossible. We are going to have a jumper for the Valvalis fight, so Valvalis will have her 6,000 HP.
It also means we'll be able to hit her with magic, of course.
Yeah, so we won't have, erase the other 3 characters from our memory. We will have a... Rydia will probably have Quake by that point, let's just be fair. Because Palom does get Quake pretty early. I can't see a situation where she won't get Quake before Valos. I don't really see a situation. What about you, Crow? Do you see a situation where Quake isn't learned on Rydia before Valvalis?
Let's see, Rydia has Paloms. I mean, especially if you're using alarms, you'll probably get it. I don't have that here, so it may not work out for me in that way.
Yeah, generally in the long run, the reason why... Okay, so, for those of you who don't know, what we're referring to when we're saying when they come back is there is a thing in Final Fantasy IV, and I don't even know why this is a thing. There's a thing called the Shadow Party. And when characters come back, when characters leave, they enter what is called the Shadow Party. They get experience when they're in your party, when they're out of your party, because they got put into the Shadow Party, because the Shadow Party gives the experience of what's in your current party, plus it adds to the Shadow Party. So you will generally see the people that went into the Shadow Party gain a whole lot of levels, and a lot of people actually don't really realize that. It's something that I don't know why exists.
It's their solution, or at least this is my understanding of it, is that it's their solution to the problem of how you get the rejoining characters to make sense in the overall level of the rest of your party. So, what future Final Fantasy games ended up doing for the same problem was they made they could kind of calculate what the current average level was for your party, and then they set the level to that for the character when they rejoined. But for this game, to solve the same problem, what they're trying to do is they're trying to make the game give you returning characters that have gained about the same amount of experience as if they hadn't left. So
Yeah,
If
so
you don't spend a lot of time in the game, then you're going to get them coming back at low level, just like how the rest of your other characters are low level.
yeah.
Or at least that's what they're going for, I think.
Yeah, it's just from my experience, the Shadow Party is just when the characters leave, the characters get copied into the Shadow Party, which still exists somehow in the regular party. You just cannot use them in combat until they come back.
Sapphire rank's pretty.
Am I right in that? Am I correct? Am I correct in that assumption?
Sorry, I was trying to concentrate on equipment decisions there. We got pretty interesting range. Not a lot of characters to use ranks here. Anyway, what exactly were you saying there?
I said for my assumption of what the Shadow Party is a thing, from my understanding, it is it's characters that leave that the characters get copied into the Shadow Party. But the character and they get experience, but you can't control them in battle because they are not in your actual party. They're copied to the Shadow Party.
Yeah, it's the data that would constitute a normal character is just shoved into one of the spots in memory directly after where normal party members are kept. And the level up routine just sweeps through that set of characters as well. And most of the rest of the game's functions just ignore those pieces of data because they are in fact not in your party yet. And that's all.
Yeah, but
it's not an elegant solution, but I don't
they're in the party, but they're not in the party.
Mm-hmm. Well, the data still exists as if they were in a party, but they're not in one of the spots that the game uses for your real party. I guess is how I would put it.
Yeah, so yeah, this is a whole lot of nonsense, but it makes sense. Trust me, I've been with Crow long enough that I kind of understand some of that stuff now. It sounds like nonsense, but it's facts. Trust me. How long have we known each other? Like 5 years?
I was mentioning in my chat, yes, Lunarian Shuffle does grant Dark Knight style equipment that is usable, going on forward through the game, not just for the start, like in vanilla. Since we have randomized equipment, it's literally making brand new stuff for that. But even if you're playing with vanilla equipment, Lunarian Shuffle does allow some stuff that feels like it could be Dark Knight compatible. It allows Dark Knight to use it. In particular, I'm talking about like the Ancient Sword that inflicts Curse, the Blood Sword that drains HP, Avenger Sword that forces you into a uncontrollable berserk state. All those things are Dark Knight compatible in the Lunarian Shuffle.
Speaking of Dark Knight compatible and Avenger, the Avenger weapon is not always going to be a sword in randomized equipment. It could be a staff, it could be a rod, it could be a claw. We don't know. But it will always, always, always have the same... it will always, lower your wisdom and will and up your strength, agility, and vitality. That has not changed.
Yeah, the degree to which it does those things depends on what level it adds the thing to your... to the game at. If it shows up in the game a little bit early, then it won't be quite as severe in what stats it gives.
But it's still...
If it joins later than normal, then it'll be even more severe.
Yeah, so like, in one of our Lunarian Shuffle Challenge League kind of things, I had an Avenger staff, and I found that at Antlion, and it upped the wisdom, upped the strength, agility, and vitality by a total of 5, and lowered it by 5, lowered the wisdom and will by 5. Also auto berserks you, which is not bad really. Berserk status in this game is very good. What's your what's your preference on like actual berserk status in this game?
If you can berserk a character, usually the correct answer is to do that.
Yeah.
Berserk is super good.
Yeah. But it's not good in situations like berserking a mage, but...
surprisingly often, there will be fights where magic isn't relevant, and berserking a mage is still worth the effort. It keeps the character alive and participating in the fight without having their menu pop up and interrupt the other things you're trying to do. And that's kind of the secret to why Berserk is just so good in this game. The big part of it is just this game really punishes you pretty hard for having a character get a turn because the menus pop up so slowly compared to how quickly characters act.
Yeah, so I have I frame counted how long it takes for the menu pop up. That was a long time ago. Yeah, it is pretty slow. I don't 100% remember what the actual frames were, because I did count them frame by frame when I was super obsessed with speedrunning this game.
Did you speedrun vanilla?
Yeah.
Which category did you
I was trying to learn No 64 at a certain point, but I have done a good amount of Paladin percent. So frame counting is still relevant in Paladin percent because so is run buffering. Run buffering is absolutely busted. It is a good way to get your actions out very quickly without without any downside. As long as they can't run buffers up, you can't, no one can have their ATB bar filled, so that's always good there. For some reason though, and I don't really understand why this is, the enemy is always, it doesn't matter what the actual spell cast rate is, it's always instant. Oh crap, I forgot.
That's super bad. Do I have a way out of this mess? No, I don't think so. I'm eating a wave now. I actually lit you off before Kinazo's water rose.
I forgot to MP overflow Fusoya, so we're going to Baigen fight without any sort of Meteor going off. And I don't remember if I saved recently, so I'm just going to wing it, I guess.
I managed to dodge the wave. I did actually burn a hourglass, not an hourglass, a silk web on
I wonder...
Kinazo, like here.
I haven't really been paying attention. Do you have anything that prevents Berserk?
There is a calming, heavy armor that came on
How you doing?
characters to die.
Are you?
Who was started on.
Yeah, I think it was Rosa. I think she's got that on. Because I tried berserking her and it didn't work. Which means we're just gonna use the fight command with her. Berserk is actually really good in this game because it makes it so that your menu doesn't pop up. Your like command menu doesn't pop up, and it increases your damage by 1.5. So not only is it a damage increase, it's also a speed increase.
And in that fight there, I wound up having Rosa use Dark Wave a couple times. Wasn't too bad. There's 3 targets, a couple of them are pretty weak, so a little bit of damage from Dark Wave are decent there. Now we're going to find out what our Kane is like this time.
I don't really see a position where I'm going to be generally using that rod. Let me try to see what I can get rid of. I don't see a situation for cold winds either.
I sold Cold Wind a long time ago.
Yeah, well, you gotta understand, when I'm trying to go fast, the only time I actually go into the shot menu and sell things is when I need to and when I'm in a shop. So if I need money for something, then that's the time that I actually spend in the menu to sell things. So that's why it takes me a little bit of time sometimes. Also, I don't think did we find Kirsch anywhere in the Baron shop at all? I don't think we did. Need more room, dude. I was like, what's going on with my yeah, I need to, yeah, the calming, yeah, Berserk Command, yep, that's what was going on, okay. So did you encounter the soft lock? Did you encounter the soft lock, Crow?
I did not get it myself. And I think in that case I would actually call it a hard lock because the game just ceases to function in any capacity. Usually I think of a soft lock as you're trapped in a room that has no exit, that kind of thing. Whereas a hard lock is the game engine is no longer functioning in its normal capacity whatsoever.
Fair enough. But yeah, that hard lock is really bad. Generally, I don't really see a reason where it should trigger. Where I don't really see a reason where that specific hard lock would actually be of any threat to a casual player. But from a speedrunner sense, that is a big deal. Actually, let's do that. I don't think I'm really gonna have a hard time with the Kainazo fight. We can use Medio. Kainazo is one of the 2 bosses that actually have their evasion calculated. But only when he's in his shell, and Valvalos when she is in her tornado form.
Yep. The route to that situation is that all the enemies in the game have a evasion percentage and multiplier coded into them just like players do, but the game doesn't normally load that at the beginning of combat. So the evasion numbers only get loaded if it changes mid-combat, which Knazo does when he switches to shell, and Valvalis does whenever he spins up.
I don't see a situation where, yeah, I'm just like, there's no way Edward's surviving that hit. He was at 140 some HP and Wave was coming out with 160 some damage. Yeah, Knazo is dead, but because the rocks are coming out. But alright, Knazo dead. We're about an hour and a half in. That's not too bad.
Hour and a half in, we are approaching what will be the final gauntlet of several boss fights in a row. And then this Soulvest percent race will be done. We end with the fight against the big villain in Dwarf Castle, which immediately follows Valvalis fight, which immediately follows
Cabrera with Golbez.
Yep.
Are you done with Magnes already?
Oh no, I am now heading into Magnes.
I'm like, there's no way you're finishing this that quickly.
Oh yeah, not quite that fast. But yeah, we are approaching what is going to be the end. So just be aware that we are not going all the way to zero. That does take a fair amount of additional time.
Yeah, so the lowest amount of time it's taken me to go from a complete run from the beginning to the end, it's taken me about 5 hours and 40 minutes on a timer.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. Also, if you hit the menu button right after this cutscene, the game will hard lock. I have no idea why. What I like to do to prevent that hard lock is not open the menu until I land the airship. Yeah, generally we'll make sure it doesn't actually happen.
Yeah, just don't immediately press X and you're fine.
Yeah. I actually did that one time when I was playing vanilla. One time on console, I was like, oh, forgot, soft lock the hard lock actually happens. Oops. I felt a bit dumb. Oh, Parseth, thank you so much for the raid. Party of one. Oh, you remember that one time the soft lock happened, the soft or hard lock happened after the cutscene where the hole to the underground is closed? Is that actually a thing?
At which point did the lock happen?
When the hole to the underground was closed. So, like, right after it closed?
I have not seen that happening. It wouldn't surprise me too much. It's a similar sort of situation. So, that makes sense, but that's not one I'm familiar with. Once he changes form, he's no longer considered a boss. So in this case, I actually hit him with the poison effect attached to Slicer, which I just swung at him. So,
yeah, Neki making a good point here. Neki's making a very good point here. He says, and probably the same when it's reopened. It's probably the case. You were probably correct. The soft lock happened when he was on console. soft lock, hard lock, whatever you want to call it. Happened when he was on console, so it must be a vanilla thing, because I don't know. It just feels like this game was not made properly.
Well, to be fair, they have excuses for why this game is so weirdly coded. The game was in development for the NES first, and then they got the opportunity to be a launch title for the Super NES, so they had to port everything there, and they also had to expand the game to make it something that would sell people on the Super NES compared to the NES. So there's a lot of things that come with that. Part of it is a whole bunch of code that was written for a completely different processor had to be converted to something that makes some sense on the SNES. And it is clear that a lot of the code was not made in a way that makes sense for the processor it was made for.
Yeah. I am very aware, Nikki, that most games have little things that are done wrong. This game does not just have some things that are done wrong, no. There's a lot of things in this game that just don't make sense.
Squaresoft honestly had a track record of odd programming. That's kind of the rule, not the exception, for better or for worse.
You do have a point, but this game was just, I don't know, it doesn't feel like this game was made with anything but like rubber or something. This game breaks so easily. Like, it's bendable. Rules can easily be bent. Rules can easily be bent. I think I might actually want to stay at the end before I head up to the Magnes Cave. That is fair, Nike. FF6 is really broken. If you're going to compare this one to Final Fantasy VI, though, I would say Final Fantasy IV is more broken. Just from the simple...
The way I would put it is that the glitches that exist in Final Fantasy VI are far more visually dramatic, right? But part of that is just that the game is more elaborate to begin with. That there's, whenever you invoke the sketch glitch in Final Fantasy VI, there's so many more systems going on in the combat system, that there's more things that can get corrupted, and you can see all the weird effects jumping around and scrambling the screen with.
There's the, but when you're playing Final Fantasy IV, there's so many different things that are going on that just don't make sense. Part of it is, apparently when you berserk characters, and you do it with just the right agility, you can clog up the queue so the count doesn't kill you.
Yep.
That doesn't make sense. You would think that it would just go through anyway.
Get characters to copy previous characters' actions, and thereby throw a trash can at...
I don't think any other Final Fantasy moment beats that, though. Throwing an actual trash can. Throwing a carrot.
That's garbage code.
Nah, it's just trash. I mean, I'm not wrong, it's trash. It's absolute garbage. To be fair, though, this was back when they didn't have a whole lot of RAM space. So you got to give them a little slack for that. But so the fastest way to go into this fight and finish the fight is to equip a character, one of the only characters that are equip everyone with metallic equipment, and then the fight will instantly end. We perish, and then whoever is in place of Edward, in this case it's Palom, will sing, would, you know, play their harp and bring some music, but this one's questionable to say the least. Also, Palom and Porum's theme is exactly the same, and so is Edge's and Sid's. I don't know why. But they just get...
Edge just didn't really have his own theme, so when I was picking through to try to think, okay, what beat is it? I have the conclusion I eventually made was that Edge's theme was the thing that played whenever the characters ran, whenever his cohorts ran in and out of the scene just after Rubicon, which incidentally is actually a scene that gets completely skipped in shortened cutscenes. So
What does? Oh, the falling of the Sid replacement?
Hmm?
The falling of the dwarf? Was it that's what it is?
Oh no, just after you fight Rubicon and win for the first time, at that point, some other Eglon characters run up and talk with the prince, and Edge decides, okay, sure, I'm gonna keep on going on with this party here. I'm not gonna head back and be a prince yet.
Hey, Tattle.
The scene that plays there is a Sid for whatever reason.
Yeah, I don't know why that, like, it just seems so random. I mean, I can see Palom and Porum's theme being the same because, you know, they're twins. But Sid and Edge's just don't make sense when they go together. I'm doing pretty good.
I do wonder if Edge was added to the script late in the process. I think that's possible because Edge doesn't really add much to the plot, right?
Yeah, he's just a spoiled prince that got involved in it.
Mm-hmm. It was along the way, he's just kind of replacing your monk with a ninja because that's an upgrade that you get, right?
I mean...
And then aside from that, his only real function is to sexually harass Rydia.
Yeah. And then he gets harassed by Rydia.
Yep.
90s. I mean, what you say comes back to bite you. That's an actual saying, and that's actually true.
Anyway, speaking of Edge,
Edward would be a good side villain. I mean, you're not wrong.
When I think villain music, I think party. So, Rydia is rejoining the party now. Whenever Rydia leaves the party and rejoins, she will leave as a child and rejoin as an adult. As an adult, she will have a new equipment style and a new ability set. So I do need to figure out what that is now, along with the rest of my plans for figuring out how I'm going to deal with Valvalis. I'm also getting Paladin Cecil back into the party. He has Edge's ability set, which is sweet.
Which
Dart
is
amazing.
Yeah, Dart is one of the best skills in the entire game. Dart is one of the best abilities in the entire game. Just from the simple fact that it ignores evasion.
I think that's Paladin abilities on adult radio, which is not exciting. And
Oh. Hey, remember that power bow
Yeah.
that we couldn't afford way earlier? Remember that power bow? Oh, I just got it from the Flame Dog chest.
Oh, what was in there?
The power bow.
Oh, cool.
I had Blizzard items, so I went, you know what, screw it, let's just try, right? And see what it actually does. Ups the strength by 7, that's not bad. Gives me 62 accuracy. Gives me an extra multiplier, I'll take it.
It's going to be a lot of fight command against Valvalis here. I have pretty good weaponry. A couple of speed daggers, a slicer, sword that I invested a little bit in order to get
So
here.
let's see here.
Got
We're...
Dart, including a couple of propellers I found in chests. So
I don't really see the Magus Sisters as going to be difficult. I don't think there's a situation where they're going to be hard. Did you have a hard time with them? Did you just use Medio?
not really. I just medioed and called it a day.
That's an actual vanilla strategy, by the way.
Yep.
Speedrunners do that all the time. The only problem I have with Visalia is that he is not the quickest. He is, however, faster than Tella by a lot. When he comes to level 50, he has 20 agility, which may not seem like a whole lot when you get to the actual, when you get to him in vanilla at the end of the game, but that's because it's at the end of the game. If you get him pretty early, in some situations he will actually be more useful. We are, however, going to be losing him pretty soon. I just think it's funny that Edward has 600 HP. Like, the exact same amount that Paladin Cecil has in vanilla at level 1. Like, okay, so we're gonna be losing our only white mage. I do have life potions. That's not too bad.
Yeah, I just kind of chucked everything in my inventory at Valvalis with a Dark Command, and that wasn't good enough. Rydia having cover is relevant here.
Yeah, so generally when Valvalis uses her weak, it brings you down to a single digit, which in most cases, you know, it's horrible to happen to you because, well, it's a weak spell. But in the specific case that's coming up, that's not a big deal as long as she does not hit a character with a Paladin Cecil's ability set. So that's relevant. Now we're going to be losing
I don't know if this is still the current strategy, but at one point the grind fight strategy for PSP version of the game was put Lunar Veil on Paladin Cecil, so he's invulnerable to physical damage, and then deliberately leave everyone at critical HP, and then repeatedly defeat machine giants that way. And machine giants' attacks are all physical, so Cecil just blocks everything, and so you can have free range, just spawn another.
So basically, just Mac Giant grind. Is that basically what it is?
Yep, Mac Giant grind using Cecil for protection.
Because I can see a D machine grind happening in the PSP version. But it would incentivize perfect routing.
I think the reason for using Mac Giant instead is that you can get it set up to where you can get the grind to happen while auto battle is on, and the game runs like 4 times faster when auto battle is active, something like that. Whereas making things work against D-machines requires a little bit more setup, a little bit more precision on what you do where and when, and that doesn't add up. Something like that.
Okay, so we got Tella's equipment set. Okay, that's not too bad. Could be worse. Could be a lot worse, actually. Yeah, for some reason, when Rydia changes, I think, if I remember correctly, her back row glitch wears off. If I remember correct.
I actually don't know, but you can check easily enough. If the back row glitch is active, you will see that is the case in the other section in the lower right portion of the equipment modification screen. Because the bow and arrow icon there represents that.
But I believe that is I believe that's the case. I could be wrong though, because I'm not entirely sure on that. Correct me if I'm wrong though.
I actually don't remember that being a thing. It would be strange if they made that occur, but it's not out of the question.
But is it not something that you specifically tried to put in there?
That's not something I tried to cause to occur.
Okay, so if I see it, I report as a bug?
I don't know if it happens in vanilla. Usually, in the Lunarian Shuffle, if a glitch exists in vanilla, I am fine with letting it continue to exist in this. The one exception to that was equipment duplication. That kind of causes problems, so turn that off.
No, Nakey, I'm not talking about how critical hits wear off. I'm talking about back row glitch wears off. I know critical hit. I know about critical hits. That's actually very easy to explain.
What do I do here? I guess just toss a blizzard.
You have
Dagger, if I can, I guess I can.
Oh, remind you that. Okay. I probably should have put.
Edward, you can do it.
I assume he can do it.
There we go, got it. And that's time.
GG.
GG.
Okay, so right now I'm taking care of Valvalis. Currently. Just got the jump landed so I can use magic if needed.
The party pretty abruptly switched here from being very magic heavy to being very physical heavy. I wound up just using mostly Fight Command against Valvalis, but wound up boiling down too. Aside from chucking my entire inventory at her.
Yeah, I had a Ogre Nyx axe.
Yeah. No,
I think I have a couple of them actually.
That was a ninja star. Found those in some of the chests I opened, so got to chuck those as well.
Yeah, so did I. I have no idea, Nikki. Nikki's asking a very important question. Is it possible to keep critical hit on Cecil in vanilla? That's the outline. Did you hear that, Crow? Is it... Nikki asks, is it possible to keep critical hit on Cecil?
In vanilla?
Yes.
Let me think. In order to keep critical hit on Cecil, let's see, the usual place you lose it is the solo battle of Pella. Let's see, you lose it there for Dark Knight Cecil. There's no way to avoid losing that there. Then later, Cello once again is to blame. First he kills the ability to crit on Dark Knight Cecil by being in the fight against the Spoony Bard. Then later he is in a solo fight against Golbez, and that deletes any ability to critical hit on Paladin Cecil, Sid, and Yang. They all lose it there if they still have it somehow.
So, the latest you can have it is at Sot?
I think so. I don't think there's anything that would prevent you from having it prior to that point.
Aside from...
So essentially, anytime there's a solo battle, anyone that is who is technically in your party but is excluded from the fight loses their critical hit at that point. Also, if there's ever a fight, if you ever start a battle with a character dead, that character will lose critical hit for the rest of the game at that point as well.
So when we have... Is there a single spot where Edge loses his ability to crit?
Say again?
Is there a single spot where Edge loses his ability to crit in vanilla?
I don't think so. Not guaranteed. Edge does have a solo fight that clears everyone else's critical hits. I think Rosa dodges losing her crit until there, but at that point she will lose it. No, I guess Yang deletes Rosa's crits right from the start. Yeah. But anyway, Edge is okay until...
The Zeramus fight.
Yeah. Although, two characters actually get whisked out of your party. I think it's slots 2 and 4 get temporarily shooed away into the Shadow Party and then restored in order to make the Zeramus fight happen.
Who?
So I think if you put Edge in slot 2 or slot 4, he'll keep crit for Zeramis. I could be wrong on that, but I think that is how that works. At that phase of the game, crits aren't really that exciting anyway, so it's not that big of a deal, but...
Well, that's not entirely true. That's not entirely true. Getting a good crit on a Zerked character is important. So, that's not entirely true. But aside from that, yes. The crit at that point really doesn't matter too much. Because doesn't crits do like 2 times some damage or something like that?
I never that's actually one specific part of the code I've never really taken a careful look at. I probably should have. But I think crits are actually on a per sub-hit basis. So I think you by the late game, getting a quote-unquote crit and having the screen flash sometimes just means you got one of your sub-hits to crit, at which point it's not that big of a bonus for your attack overall.
Interesting. See, this is some of the things that I actually like to know, you know, because there's not a whole lot of times I can either, 1, visit your stream when you're playing Lunarian Shuffle, or 2, race this Golbez percent anymore. The dolls are now dead. Ironically, the 2 Edwards are going to battle each other. So Edge is his real name is Edward for some reason.
Is it?
Yeah, his real name is actually Edward. Oh, here's a really good chance here's a little chance for me to actually tell you, for anyone who doesn't know, if you are playing with randomized equipment, sometimes you'll have paralyzed resisting equipment. And my Vegeta Edward here has paralyzed resistant equipment. So, I can actually do actions with him while animations are playing. So, that's good. I don't know what has it, but something does.
The shield, the Kavikui shield, has paralysis resistance. I had that on both Chrono and Vegeta. So, now of course having it on Chrono wasn't all that helpful because, you know, he gets killed by Shadow anyway. One thing you have to look out for is a possible soft block if you have someone that can survive the paralysis and the instant death. If you attack Shadow, he only has 1 HP, he will die, and if you attack him before the script plays out and your returning party member returns, then Golbez will not lose his invulnerability, and you just won't be able to kill him at all, and he'll just murder you.
Also, that is Golbez percent done. With everyone alive.
Everyone alive, really? Okay.
Yeah! Yeah, everyone alive.
Yeah, I found Vegeta's jumps were actually pretty solid there.
I bought the Infernos that were in the shop, so I just spammed that.
Also works.
Yeah, it does like 1,300 damage, so I was like, you know what? Yeah, that works, you know. Anyway, that's the race. So, yeah.
Yep. And as a reminder for everyone, there is a Final Fantasy Randomizer marathon coming up. I will repost in my chat the schedule for what's going on, when and where. Go ahead and check that out. And that will be. It's coming Saturday, right?
Let me. It should be 6 days from now, so yeah, it would be. It would be. That'll be correct.
Yep.
6 days from now.
There, it'll be the biggest audience Lunarian Shuffle has had for a while, so that'll be nice. See if that gets things going a little bit more in the community, or not either is fine, but it'll be nice for anyone that would be interested in this particular kind of experience that Lunarian Shuffle provides to know that it's out there for them to try anything.
Yeah, I've actually had a few people when I'm doing the Lunarian Shuffle Sunday, the Lunarian Shuffle Challenge League stuff. I've actually had a few people say they wanted to try it out. Yeah, I've just been like, wow. I thank you and Crow thanks you. But yeah, with that.
Right. With that, I think I'm going to be cutting the stream here. Thanks for the race, and I'll probably try to organize another practice session some time. I think I have a day off in this coming week, so if that works out for people, we can do there. And then I am working Saturday, but I'm off work at 6 o'clock. So, should be plenty of time for the randomizer.
Yeah, we do have to appear in there at least 30 minutes beforehand, so do keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, that is cool.